sports, if you want to be the best, there are no off days.
Welcome into the No Off Days podcast. Scott Smith, Chris Cato, and we have that fresh in from Texas smell. It's the cologne of brisket.
I've tried to sweat it out, but yeah, I consumed a lot of meat. Still got the meat sweats.
Oh man,
what a trip we had though.
Yeah,
I mean,
tell
what
me
a
a
trip
little bit
I
about
had.
it. How was it? Was it fun?
Yeah, Texas.
As much fun as it looked.
It was fantastic. Texas is a big state.
Yeah.
And so you were in part of it, and I was in part of it on
Correct.
the same weekend. We didn't cross paths. I was in Austin. Big Alabama fan. Went for the Alabama-Texas game.
Yeah.
Almost died a couple of times in the fourth quarter, and not just from the heat. You know, it was scary. Walked out of there with the W. Ate a big turkey leg as I walked out of the stadium.
You kind of have to. It's a rite
You
of
have
passage.
to, yeah. And, just enjoyed it. Austin, first time I'd been to Austin. Great city. Big music scene. So every bar you walk past has some really talented musician in it.
You karaoke?
They don't allow that in Austin. Unprofessionals like me
Really?
getting on stage.
Snobbery. Music snobbery.
I wanted to give them my yellow Ledbetter, but they wouldn't accept it. But, fun town. Great weekend.
Yeah.
Good scene. It's going to be, I think Texas is going to fit into the SEC well after what I saw. A lot of tradition there, a lot of people who just love college football.
Yeah, and maybe if you call that a safety, maybe you wouldn't be as welcoming to them into the.
I don't know why you would call it a safety. They did miss a big face mask call on us there.
Well, we'll get into all that in just a moment, and the reasons why I was also in Texas and Dallas for the NFL, the Bucks and the Cowboys kicking their season off. Let's bring in Brian King, BK, up in the booth, and. We got some fun planned at the end of the show. Can you give us a little bit of a taste, a preview, Brian, of what we're in store for?
Well, we got an interview with Kevin Kiermaier coming up. That's pretty exciting. And then we also got Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's no longer playing football. He's now with Amazon Prime.
Yes.
Yes, Thursday Night Football, part of that broadcast. And that is going to be, I'm looking forward to that, actually, seeing, what kind of broadcast they put on, because it seems like it's going to be pretty fun.
That's going to be a good one.
I think so, too.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end of the show, we'll probably delve into something like music-wise, I think. Maybe something. I don't
Scott's
know.
already invited me to karaoke, so
has he?
I don't know.
if there's nothing else, you have to hang on to the end of the show to hear Chris Cato karaoke.
Oh,
and I believe that the shirt might be an indication.
This is my Chili Peppers shirt.
Yeah.
I'm the guy who buys the T-shirt before he goes to the concert, so I'm going to go see the Peppers.
Practical.
Thursday night, Camping World Stadium, our beautiful music venue in Florida. New York has Carnegie Hall, Colorado has Red Rocks. We have Camping World Stadium.
It's iconic.
Yeah, it is. And so going to see the Peppers for the first time in my life. Check that one off the list. It's going to be good. Scott, do you know how, Brian, do you know how you can tell how much a chili pepper weighs?
How's that?
You give it away. You give it away. You give it away now.
Nice.
I didn't quite deliver that one.
Oh, I like that. Well, we'll dive into some of that a little bit later on.
Yeah.
You're giving us too much of a sneak peek of our Ballad Breakdown coming up at the end of the show.
Correct.
And as BK mentioned, of course, we got Fitz, the bearded wonder. He will be joining us, and then KK, the outlaw, on the big program. Make sure if you are listening to the program and you'd like to see what is Chris Cato wearing, what is this Red Hot Chili Peppers shirt that they keep talking about, you can actually go to our webpage, our splash page, and you can catch the YouTube version of it. It's available, of course, on our fox13news.com/nodpod page. That's kind of our main delivery mechanism.
We have many ways of getting our message out to the people,
Yes.
but the Fox 13 Nodpod page is kind of the centrifuge of it.
Right. So if you want to listen, if you want to subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, you want Stitcher, you want the Spotify deal, that's where you go, and it's really easy to figure it out. And if you are watching, whether you're watching on our Sunday night show or you're watching on YouTube, you can actually take your little phone and hit that QR code that is up on the screen right now, and that will actually send you right there. So
we have a QR code?
We've made it as brainless as possible.
Have we blown through our budget in 2 weeks of this?
Correct. Well, we deducted your pay, but we were thinking you wouldn't even notice. So make sure you join us on those avenues, and we can see the ongoing collection of Chris's T-shirts, which...
Well, now I have to buy myself because we've used all our budget.
There's no wardrobe budget. All right, so you're back from Texas. Big game in Austin, and we saw Alabama rock it, and it was a little shaky there at one point in time. But how were you received? As I know you're a Bama fan that wears your colors proudly,
yes.
But you're deep in the heart of Texas.
And I'm one of the many classy Alabama fans out there. I don't go in to cause problems, But yeah, we were well received. The Texans, the Longhorn fans were very nice, very accommodating. Only had one brief altercation with a gentleman after the game, but we don't need to get into that. No, they were really
I can't think of anything else.
they really did roll out the red carpet for the Crimson Tide fans. All of the restaurants and bars did too. It was a good scene.
Yeah.
Nice town. Fun. How did Dallas treat you?
Dallas was good. I mean, that was a Sunday night game, so we had a little bit of time on Sunday. Jeff Tewksbury, our esteemed colleague and photographer and pretty much utility man, we actually went down to lighten the mood. We went to Daly Plaza.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Okay.
well,
Little
we
history?
had he is a kind of a history buff, and I had been there before, but we wanted to take a little bit more time and kind of walk through it. It was very interesting.
Yeah.
And a lot of folks that were wearing their jerseys that were kind of that they had the same idea. But I love Jerry World, and it's not, of course, this nostalgic stadium, of course, because it's brand new, but it has all the bells and whistles. And of all the new stadiums that I've been to, it's my favorite.
Yeah.
If you would equate it to like every other stadium, like a Spring Hill Suite, this is like a Marriott Vacation Club.
Oh,
right?
good. All right.
Like it's like the Piggly Wiggly versus like the Costco. It's got
Well,
everything
that's
you
a
need.
big gap there. That's no offense
It's
to
just
the
a matter
pig.
of convenience. It's clean.
Buc-ee's versus 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
Is that
yeah,
fair?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, look, we had, a Texas big giant steak as part of
course.
our, media meal. So, and then they have buckets of candy that you can get nice and fat off.
Well, you
So-
said of all the, and stop me here if I babble too much about this, of all the venues you've been to, so have you done SoFi?
Have not done SoFi,
Okay.
so that's still on the bucket list.
Allegiant in Las Vegas?
I've not done Allegiant.
Okay, so you're comparing this to Raymond James Stadium and
Correct.
Mercedes-Benz
Right.
and the Superdome.
Well, I've been to a few of the newer stadiums. So of the ones that I've been to,
Okay.
I would put this.
So nicer than MetLife.
Yeah, I would say it's a touch nicer than the Meadowlands. But we had some interesting Week 1 games, and I think we learned a little bit about some of these teams already right out of the gates. I mean, we start last Thursday night, Bills thumping the Rams. I don't know that anybody really thought that the score would be that reflective.
That was impressive. Three turnovers the Bills had, too, and still
4 turnovers.
Four, okay, and put it on them.
They did. Josh Allen is phenomenal,
Oh,
and he has been elite for a couple years now, but I think he really is going to put his stamp on this season.
And then Von Miller, immediate impact, just destroying his old team.
They sacked Stafford 7 times.
Yeah.
So that defense is good. How about Ken Dorsey, their offensive coordinator?
Right.
Pretty impressive stuff. And then Vikings with a big win over the Packers.
Looking good.
Not many people saw that one coming. I think Kirk Cousins was one of your preseason picks.
Yeah,
maybe.
and Tony
You can own it now.
Dungy saw that
That's
coming.
right,
He
yeah.
sat here and told us the Vikings were going. Their defense was violent, like throwback to Purple People Eaters,
Yeah.
violent, and then
Well, Jefferson.
Justin Jefferson, probably best wide receiver in
Yeah,
the league now.
yeah.
One of the
He's
2
up
or
there.
3, really good.
How about the Giants over the Titans? This is a 1-point win. And here's my sentiment on this. I'm going to compare this game, this Giants 1-point win. They go for 2 at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Brian Daboll in his first win as the Giants head coach. The aggressiveness to go for 2. By the way, Saquon Barkley.
He's back.
He's back.
He's
He was
back.
the best running back on the field.
Yeah, no one drafted him in
yeah.
the fantasy draft. By
Yeah,
the way.
so impressive stuff by him. But the aggressiveness, timidity rarely is rewarded. And I think we saw that, like if you juxtapose that to the Texans-Colts game, you got Lovie Smith. They're in overtime. They're on the 49-yard line.
Yeah.
It's tied at 20. And instead of going for it, I believe it was a 4th and 3 with 20 seconds left, they decided to punt it, basically saying, we're going for the tie.
Yeah, we're fine with
okay
that.
with the tie.
Yeah.
And that they did, but I just think what players want is coaches that are smart but aggressively smart.
Don't be married to the analytics, right? Look
Correct.
at what the analytics tell you, but don't go by it like it's the Bible. And I think that's what, the analytics guy didn't like the choice by the Giants to go for 2 there. And then compare it to what we saw last night with, depending on when you're listening or watching to this, what we saw in Seattle.
Right.
At the end of the game. The Broncos, you just invested $235 million in Russell Wilson. You got a 4th and 5. But, hey, here's a 64-yard field goal.
It's not, so
We
much
could
has
try.
been made about the investment into Russell Wilson, and it does matter that they care so much about him. But it's a 64-yard field goal attempt.
Well, McManus is good. He's one of the best in the biz.
Okay. Still, I think that you have to lean on the guy that is the perennial Pro Bowler.
Right.
The guy that is going to lead your offense.
Yeah.
And again, this is where those issues of timidity, I think, are rarely rewarded.
That's what you told me.
If you don't do it, you may not feel the punishment right now, but I think you lose a little bit of credibility within the locker room each time that you show a lack of confidence in the guys that you're supposedly confident in. What I find interesting about that Monday night game is that here you have a 64-yard attempt. So Denver's down 1. You got 20 seconds to go. It's a 4th and 5. And they decide they want to go for a 64-yard field goal attempt. It reminded me of the 2020 NFC Championship game. The Bucs up 8 on the Packers. There's 2 minutes left. It's a 4th and goal. And what does Green Bay do? They decide they're going to kick the field goal to pull within 5 and have their defense go out and try to stop Tom Brady in the last 2 minutes. Did that pan out?
Never.
No, it did not pan out. Who was their offensive coordinator? Nathaniel Hackett, the head coach of the Denver Broncos. Now, I know that Matt LaFleur kind of took the dagger on that one.
Yeah.
And maybe rightly so. But I think the fact that it reminded me of that so much, maybe more than coincidental.
I'm impressed with your memory. I just got to say, that Prevagen's paying off for you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. So
maybe we can get that Prevagen sponsorship.
That Russell Wilson game was interesting, and it was cool to see him back on the field. I like it when you have these revenge games right out of the gates.
Yeah.
And it did not pan out for either one that had Week 1 revenge games. Baker Mayfield, of course, in the other one.
He struggled at first, fought hard like we've seen him do so many times, brought him back to the brink there, just couldn't get it done. Yeah, so, the Browns get the win there. I think on a field goal, it was a bad weekend for NFL kickers looking like college kickers, though. I mean, how many games were – and again, maybe that's why you don't try a 64-yard field goal after seeing what transpired all weekend. But just a tough weekend for kickers in general. And that's funny because they're the ones who actually play in the preseason games, right? Like, none of the starters do.
Yeah, it's a tough life for kickers.
Unless you're Ryan Suckup.
But not many people are still pitying them, It's one of those things where you really have no leeway. You have to hit the big kicks, and nobody really wants to hear the pity party, And I'm not saying that's right, but I'm just saying that's
the reality.
That is what is.
Gotcha.
Speaking of pity party, I don't know if you heard Von Miller's comments. He came out against the chip block that Lenny Fournette put on Micah Parsons in that Bucs Cowboys game.
Blew him up.
And he said, this should be illegal. Now, how many more protected positions do we need? He kind of made it seem like this is not good for edge rushers. Well, obviously, it's not. But we protect the quarterback, and ridiculously so, in my opinion. But what do you think, like the Jack Tatums and the Larry Zonkas think of?
They would look at this. Is this the same game I played at all?
Right.
I can't chip a linebacker?
No.
I mean, isn't that our job to keep the guy from hitting our quarterback?
Right.
I don't know. I mean, you go, you can't hit a quarterback in the legs now, right?
Yeah.
Like a defender can't do that. I would be okay with them extending that protection to wide receivers. I see too many kind of career-ending injuries where a defender goes low intentionally when it's a defenseless receiver. I almost think if you're going to apply that to the quarterback, you apply it to the wide receiver too. But we can't go to, don't chip block the linebacker who's blitzing. I mean, what are we doing? I enjoyed the Twitter back and forth between Lenny and Micah Parsons as well. That was
on Twitter?
Quality stuff, yeah.
What was being said?
Well, Micah was saying that this, was use some colorful language.
How about
that? There we go. Look at that. I didn't even know we had this. Wow, Brian.
Now go watch the tape.
Yeah.
And see what happened when it was me and him one-on-one. You hit someone not looking straight. Stop hyping this week, blank. It's football.
Yeah.
Well,
and then, Lenny responds.
Right. It is football, precisely. And football is a team game. And sometimes it's not about just one-on-one, like, Leonard Fournette straight up against Micah Parsons.
Fournette's response.
Yes, exactly.
The crying Jordan face.
I mean, It was not a cheap hit. It is part of the game. It's clearly not illegal, nor should it be. And I just think...
You think if Lenny doesn't put him on his backside, he's crying about this?
Right. No, of course not.
It's because it looked bad on him.
Well,
right?
And Micah Parsons is enormously talented, and he's going to be a Pro Bowl guy for many, many years to come. He had a great game himself. He was one of the bright spots for the Cowboys, but I don't think this is a battle worth waging. And I would, even for Von Miller to sit there and say this needs to be illegal. There was
silly.
nothing bad. There was no injury really at risk. That is just fundamental football right
What
there.
are we doing here?
Great hit by Lenny Fournette.
Yeah.
With that, and I'm sure someone that has a lot to say about quarterbacks and the protection thereof is our next guest. Ryan Fitzpatrick, of course, played 2 seasons with the Buccaneers, and he was magical. There's no other word to describe it, right?
He stepped in when the team needed him most. Jameis, had some issues
and now
had some injury.
And now he's doing all he can do to win people over yet again. Not a new football team, but a new team, Amazon Prime. He's on the Thursday night call. So he's doing pre- and post-game shows, and you weren't present for it, but a little bit earlier I had a chance to catch up with Mr. Fitzpatrick. Take it away. Well, like the monotonous legends of yesteryear, Plato, Socrates, Flea, the one-name bandit himself, Fitzmagic, joins the program today. Thank you so much. I'm glad that the TV execs at Amazon did not mandate beard trimming. This is good. I like this look.
Yeah, it was actually something. It was a request to keep it. Hey, can you keep the beard? It's like, hey, I can do that.
It's gonna definitely draw in more viewers. You know, you spent 17 years in the league. I would imagine the years of playing football go back to, when you're maybe 6, 7 years. I don't know when you started. But this is your first fall that you're not playing. How bizarre is this feeling?
Very strange. But you know what? I'm very happy with the way my career was and everything, all the places I got to visit, all the cities I got to live in. My family and I had a great time everywhere we went. And so I feel like it was time. But this transition for me to Amazon, it's going to be fun. I mean, I still get to stay involved in the game. I still get to talk to the players and the coaches and engage with the fans. And so I think it's going to help ease the transition a little bit. But so far, so good. We did a few preseason games, and then we'll kick off our Thursday night opener with Amazon on Prime Video next Thursday with Kansas City and the Chargers, which would be huge.
Yeah, there's going to be some big-time matchups this year. Did the muscles start to twitch, like at the end of July, or like you get that kind of camp itch?
No, I don't. I mean, by the end of your career, it's not the games, it's everything else. It's
right.
The meetings, it's the long days in training camp that start to add up a little bit. So I did not miss that part of it at all, no.
Well, I know the folks here in Tampa certainly love you still, and I kind of miss seeing you at the Chick-fil-A on Dale Mabry. What do you think back about your time in Tampa, the 2 glorious seasons that you had here, and certainly it was not long enough, but what kind of memories come to your mind?
A lot of the memories I have, because we ended up, when I went to Miami, we stayed in Tampa for 2 more years. So, my family, we essentially lived there for 4 years. And so there were some great memories on the field, the DJAC press conference and all that, and the start to the season with the 400-yard games. But I really do think it was just the community and the people in that city, just so generous to us. We had such a great time. We made such great friends, and the fishing as well. Being able to go in the backyard,
Yes.
hop in a kayak, go down the canal and catch some snook. It was a fun time in my life for sure.
Well, you mentioned that the long career, the many stops, 9 different teams, kind of this nomadic lifestyle a little bit, because you have a wife, you have a large family, and it requires moving and getting into new school districts and getting associated with where's the grocery store. Did you grow accustomed to that type of living? Do you miss it a little bit? Or if you had to draw it your own way, would you have preferred stay one place for 17 years?
No, we loved it. We loved it because, it was hard. I'm not going to say it was easy packing suitcases and moving every single year, but we loved the people that we met, on our journey. And it was people in the organizations, and it was different players and coaches and staff members, but it was also, like I said, the people in the communities that, we'll be lifelong friends with. So that for me to be able to travel now with Amazon and do this thing on Prime Video, like every city we go to, I know somebody. I've got true, lifelong friends in all of these cities. So as we do the tour and we're going out on, Wednesday night to do these Thursday games, I get to kind of, see these people and really enjoy the friendships that I made over the years.
Like you're crashing at their house? Is this like a Fitzpatrick version of Airbnb?
Well, yeah, we'll see. But as a guy on the other side of it, when you're a player, it's like if you're playing in a Thursday night football game, you're really just twiddling your thumbs all day. Just, well, I can't really do anything. I got to rest. I got to get my nutrition and my hydration. I'm an analyst now. Nutrition, hydration. There's going to be a lot of steakhouses. There's going to be, a lot of wandering, random cities. But I'm looking forward to that part of it.
For as much as you had to learn different offenses and adjust, I mean, you're obviously a sharp guy, a Harvard man. Do you think that kind of helps well, that lends nicely to learning a new profession, a new side of things on the TV aspect?
I think more of it, and the thing that's really going to help me out with my career and being the nomad is just the relationships. Just because playing in Tampa, that a lot of that staff is no longer there. They're spread around the league. The head coach of Tampa now, Todd Bowles, I was with him for 2 years in New York. So I have all these relationships because once you start talking about that football world, it's very small once you get into it. And I've got a pretty big web with a huge cast of characters around the league. So I think this side of football for me, and being able to go to these games and just chat with all of these guys, coaches and players alike, is going to be something that I'm going to rely on and lean on in my new role.
Have you made a reservation yet at Burns for Week 8 when the Ravens visit Tampa?
I had some guys from Miami, when they did their joint practices, try to get a reservation like an hour before they went. Right. I said that's probably not going to work at Burns.
Dessert room, you could get in up there, and that might suffice actually. What is the most intriguing team to you? I mean, obviously there's favorites. There's the Bills. We saw, Bills, Rams, those guys. But is there a team that's more intriguing to you?
There is, and you brought up the Week 8 matchup, and that'll be in Tampa, but it's against the Baltimore Ravens. And I think that team, they just play a different style of football on offense than kind of everybody else does in the league. They've got a quarterback that has this dynamic skill set that's a little bit different than everybody in the league. So I think they're really hard to prepare for. I think Greg Roman does a great job there in utilizing what he has. And then they've got a great secondary on the back end. They're healthy this year. They're a team for me, and I've said this before, that may be a Super Bowl preview on Thursday Night Football. And that's the big thing in jumping into this Amazon gig. The NFL has really done a great job of these Thursday night games are no longer the throwaway games. Like if you look at all the matchups that we have, starting with Kansas City and the Chargers on Thursday, and then, looking at Week 8, potentially a Super Bowl preview with Tampa and Baltimore. These are legit games that I'm looking forward to being a part of.
What do you make of this Bucs team? I mean, the oldest team in the league. It's always going to slide the scale when you have a 45-year-old quarterback. I get that. But what do you make of what they have, the pieces that they return? A guy like Chris Godwin, he should be healthy. I'm not sure if it's going to be Week 1, but the prohibitive favorite coming out of, the division probably, but what do you think bigger picture?
Well, Sean Payton just picked New Orleans. I saw that.
Well, he has to,
yeah. I think the thing you worry about as this team gets older, yes, they're more experienced, but how do injuries factor into that? And that's a tough thing to predict. But I think Tom Brady's probably very much looking forward to getting the season started and actually playing football. Because, for us as quarterbacks and players, that's usually our safe space, is getting on the field and getting into these games and, getting going. So I'm looking forward to seeing Chris Godwin off the injury. The way that these guys rehab, and, the ACL tear used to be something that was an awful injury that maybe was a career ender. These guys are coming back stronger now. And he's a guy, I love his work ethic. I got to see his rookie year, the most impressive rookie receiver I've ever played with. Huge fan of Mike Evans, obviously, but Todd Bowles, the way that he coaches, his style, very flat. You're never going to get a raise out of him, or he'll never be too low. I think that's really important for a veteran team. But I'm really looking forward to seeing what he does this year with this squad.
I got to ask you just real quick about the age disparity thing, because I mean, you're a young man by Brady standards. You're not even 40 yet, right? So, but at 45, how do you relate to players in a locker room that they become family, but 20 years younger, some even more?
Yeah, you win football games. I think that's the big thing. As long as you keep winning football games, everybody will want to be your friend and relate to you. Yeah.
All right, very good. Ryan, it's great to catch up with you. I hope you're getting free shipping with Amazon as part of your deal.
It's your Prime membership. What
yeah,
are we doing?
well,
Yeah,
everybody's got it, but
Go.
I think you're going to do great, and we can't wait to hear your insights, your stories. I'm very happy that the beard is not going anywhere anytime soon. So here's to a long career in broadcasting, and hopefully we get your reservation at Burns when you come to town week 8.
Okay, thank you.
So we get to look forward to him and the Amazon crew coming up Thursday night. This is a huge game. It's Chargers-Chiefs, and we get to hear his insights. And Richard Sherman also joining that prime team. So
Quite a crew they have there. But wow, starting out with the Chiefs and the Chargers, what an AFC West matchup.
Dynamite.
Oh, it's got sizzle. I mean, it's the one thing we didn't mention in the beginning is how good the Chargers look too with the defensive upgrades. They're in a good spot. And the Chiefs, I mean, no Tyreek Hill, no problem.
Yeah.
Mahomes makes the receiver maybe. The receiver doesn't make Mahomes.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
It's a combination of both. We are in the last month of the regular season on the MLB side of things, and we got some tight races. Things are getting interesting. Speaking of sizzle, little spice.
Yeah.
The Tampa Bay Rays they're chasing those Yankees, but time now for our next guest. Let's bring in the one and only, the outlaw, Kevin Kiermaier, big Purdue fan too.
There he is.
So yeah, I know that he's dialed
Boiler
in.
up.
Yeah, see, I mean, you guys could be 2-0. I know Penn State stole one from you, those dirty dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
You guys you're hitting me with the question like that. The first right out the chute.
Sorry, man.
Wow.
Interesting clock management
that hurt.
at the end of that one.
That hurt.
By Brock.
That hurt.
But there's a lot of season left. Unlike baseball season, there's a lot of college football left.
Right.
How are you feeling?
True.
How are you feeling, KK?
I feel great.
Yeah.
I feel great. I'm actually I got the Rays game on in front of me right now. I'm in our kitchen here at the Trop. I just finished my rehab, so this is where we're doing everything, but I feel so good. I went to Nashville yesterday for my 6-week checkup.
Nice.
And everything looks great. So I'm happy. Throughout this whole rehab, my expectations of what I was going to feel like have been way better than what I expected each week. So I'm able to do so much now, be able to walk around, starting to take baby steps to be able to do more and more. So I'm feeling great. I'm happy. Life is good.
Are you still using the crutches? Have we ditched those?
Nope.
Yet?
Nope. I've been off those for 2 weeks now. So thankfully, 4 weeks of those just grinding on my armpits was not fun.
Oh man.
And I got my sanity back. These last 2 weeks, ever since I've been able to move around without them. But you gotta behave and pay attention, do whatever the doctors tell you, and I did. But I'm much happier when I'm able to move around and not feel like locked up.
Oh yeah.
Just having to lug those around everywhere.
I have a funny story here.
Uh-oh.
So in KK, I don't even know that you know this, but my kids go to the same school as your young son, and my boy's in 4th grade. And the other day, he's like, "I think I saw Kevin Kiermaier at school today," and I said, "Yeah. What made you think that?" He's like, "Well, it looked like him, but he was using crutches and he was speaking Spanish." And I said, "That's KK, baby. That's got to be KK."
Yeah.
Because I know that you are a man that is proud of your growing bilingual repertoire, right?
Yeah, I am. I've always been intrigued by it ever since I first got drafted, playing with all Dominican, Venezuela, Cuban dudes over the years. And I'm like, man, they come over here and learn our language. The least thing I can do. I love to get to know my teammates. And I realized how much those guys appreciate me trying to learn the language back in rookie ball. And that just made me want to get better year after year. And I got a Spanish app on my phone. I'm trying to get better. I'm trying to get fluent. But yeah, your son, that definitely was me. And I was talking to the Spanish teacher as good as I could there in the halls. I dropped Carter off every day.
That is so funny.
So yes, your son, he did see me, and
All right.
yeah, we were talking Spanish. That's funny.
That is admirable, though, that you're learning that. And also, thank you for filling in that blank there. So my next question was, so do you just go to the school pickup line to practice your Spanish? But no, you're actually speaking to the Spanish teacher.
Yes.
That's really cool.
Yep.
You mentioned Carter there. So is he a lefty or a righty?
He's a righty.
Okay.
He can hit, he can throw. He might be a pitcher. His accuracy and his arm strength is incredible. He can hit too, but still at early stages. I think he's just going to be a heck of an athlete. But it's fun. He keeps me young. I'll tell you what. I'm rehabbing, doing all this right now, but I'm working just as hard at home with him. Being able to be at home is so fun. But it's just he's going to return 4 in November. It's such a fun age.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
It seemed like the other
I'm definitely
day
that dad where I'm pushing football, baseball, basketball every day. I love doing that stuff with him, and I hope he loves it as well.
So as much as you need a repaired labrum to play baseball, you probably need it more in the long haul to keep up with these kiddos.
Exactly.
Yes. Yes.
I want to know a little bit about kind of the backstory on this injury because it's something you had been dealing with for about a year and a half. And most of us are not familiar with kind of what that is. It's the labrum, which is in the hip. And you said it was like when they showed images to you, it was like, wow, it kind of surprised you that you were able to play so long and through the pain. What was the pain like? Was it sharp, occasional shooting pain? Was it a constant dull ache? What did you feel?
Just kind of depended on the day. I'll backtrack you. I found out like the day or two after New Year's Day. So I think it was January 3rd, 2021, where I got an MRI and I'm like, man, my hip just does not feel, I don't know. I ran one day and I wasn't even full speed yet. And I'm like, something just doesn't feel right. And I got an MRI and sure enough, my labrum was torn and I couldn't believe it when Coco Eaton told me that. My jaw hit the floor and I told him, I said, Coco, this is not the time to play around. He said, I'm not playing. Your hip is torn. And immediately right from there, I thought my 2021 season was over. I thought he was going to tell me, you got to get surgery or do this, do that. But I got a cortisone shot and they said, let's just, this is like a Band-Aid, but let's see how long you can get through. And that's what I wanted to do. And I ended up getting through all of last year, 2021 season. Had another cortisone shot mid-season to get me through and had a pretty normal off season. And then come this year, I thought I was going to be able to sustain and get through this year as well. And, that just wasn't the case. It was a battle. Starting in spring training is where I started feeling not so great and, got a couple cortisone shots as time went on, but it got to the point where I'm like, I can't go through this anymore. I feel guilty what I'm doing to my body. And that last MRI I got, it was just like, okay, this thing is toast. It hasn't been good, but got to the point where, surgery was the best option. But, man, it was playing through what I did this year. I wouldn't ever recommend that for anyone. Yeah. It wasn't healthy physically or mentally. It was a battle that I never envisioned. But I'm proud of how I got through it. I reached my breaking point there in Cincinnati on July 9th. And I knew that was probably going to be my last game and some, surgery needed to happen, but a lot of wear and tear over the years. I'm so proud of what I've done and played through so many different things, but I'm just looking forward to getting healthy and trying to put the product I'm used to back out on the baseball field. Because what I put out there this year wasn't what I'm used to, especially on the defensive side. I'm like, man, I'm not the same as what I was last year, especially a couple years ago, when things had a lot more structure, stability in there with a good, adequate labrum. But this is why I'm got surgery and I'm recovering and doing great. And my thoughts are so much more clear and better. So I'm happy.
Oh, that's positive to hear. Wow. I don't think I knew that background. A year and a half.
Yeah.
You kind of kicked this down the road with a torn labrum. That is incredible. And we all know, all Rays fans, even non-Rays fans know how hard you play and how important that is to your game to just, go out there and and like you said, you want to be your best. And so what's it like now? Tell us, take us inside kind of, I guess, the dugout, the locker room when we're getting to this point in the season and the games are ticking down. Are you guys watching the standings daily like we are here, watching how many games back? I guess as of today, as we're sitting here recording this, you're 6 games back of the Yankees. We're watching the wild card spot. Do you guys watch it, kind of game by game, day by day like that, and start to see the hourglass ticking away?
Yeah, this is the fun part. This is what you play for all year, to be in the thick of it. Team's in a great position right now, playing a division rival. It's a big series and a lot of big games coming up. But yeah, guys know what's going on. Maybe some guys more than others are following the standings and all that. It's not like we sit here and have team chats about it or anything. It's just I would like to say most guys know where we're at as a team and where other teams are as well. And it's still a lot of baseball left to be played. The division is still possible. Wild card is still possible. But it's up to those guys in that clubhouse and out there on that field every day to have the right mindset and come prepared, ready to go, do whatever it takes to win. And it's been so fun watching these guys. I wish I was out there so bad, but this September baseball, it makes you get some juices going and gets you ready for October. And just hope these guys are fortunate enough to be able to play in some of those games. There's nothing like playoff baseball. And I said in the summer, if any team is capable of making a run and making some great things happen, it's the Rays. It's these guys in this clubhouse, and what they did in August got them right back into the position where they are now. So, this is what it's all about.
Yeah. Well, that in conjunction with the Yankees kind of falling apart, it was the perfect storm in August to even be at this place where you're thinking, wow, the division was completely off the table at the start of August. Yep. By the end of the month, you're like, okay, this is possible. I mean, that wild card race is still tight, but it seems like there's some distance with those 3 teams that are ahead of things. I want to go back to one thing you said about the disconnect, because it's tough for you having to watch this team that obviously this is your family and you don't get to be a part of that. But when you're disconnected from the on the field product through rehab and that type of stuff, I want to, because of the discussion always goes back to, okay, the Rays and talking about your future with the team and whether or not you're going to be here next year. Your contract is onto a team option next year. Whether or not the team picks that up, of course, we don't know that. But this is not an uncommon thing. Every year, your name is mentioned when it comes to trades, and you can get back on the field and just kind of play through it. Is it more difficult to deal with the uncertainty of your future while you're sitting there not able to take your mind off of it by playing? You're actually having to go through a rehab.
Yeah, this is, depending what happens moving here forward, this definitely isn't the way I wanted to go out with my Rays career. I wanted to be on the field. And once again, I don't know what next year holds or after that. So I try to speak, with all due respect to everyone around, but I wanted to finish the season so bad. I wish I was out there grinding and battling with those guys and getting bumps and bruises every day to win with them. Because when you're on the IL like I am right now and know that, once I knew I was done for the season, it just changes because you can't make a contribution on the field anymore.
Sure.
And so you're not in there doing scouting reports with your boys and going to battle with them. And that's the hardest part by far. And the plane rides and good times in the hotels, it was cut short for me. And it hurts being away from these guys. I love it. It's all I know. And so for me to have my season ended the way it did, it was tough. It was tough to deal with. I think, I always look back at it and you feel like you're just not a part of the team anymore. And you try to do everything you can to feel like you're a part of the team. But you're not even a thought to be in the lineup, obviously. And it eats at me at times, but I've accepted it. I still root these guys on so much. I hope they win every game. I hope every player does so great. I live vicariously through them, but I definitely would be lying if I said it didn't affect me watching these games every night from afar and just not really being a part of the day in, day out activities and stuff that you're doing with these guys like you do on a normal basis. So it's tough to deal with, but this rehab is a physical and a mental test, and I've handled it very well so far, but it still stings every day not being out there and being a part of this and wearing that uniform.
Well, you're a resilient guy, and we know that you're going to kind of get through this, and whatever that team is that you suit up for next year, you'll be ready to go, and you'll be in those outfields and making those plays that we know you're accustomed to making. So, big picture, when you look at the last month of the season, what is the scariest team? Not necessarily the team with the best record, the team that has the biggest lead. Who is the scariest team in your opinion?
Us.
Good answer.
We're scary because we're so unpredictable at times. You can look at both ends. When we play good, we are as good as anyone, and when we don't play so good, things can have that snowball effect, and one thing leads to another. But it sounds so cliche, but if you guys are in a clubhouse or a part of a team, you probably want to hear me say a different team from a division, but you got to, like, it is so true, and you got to worry about your guys in there. Like, all you can control is how you and the guy next to you plays, and we're just out there trying to have the best plan each and every day and do whatever we have to do to win. So the Rays, we control our own destiny, and that's the best thing about baseball. It's like we make our own bed. No one else is going to do anything for us. Other teams might affect certain things, but it's our job to come to the field no matter who we're playing every day. And they had something up there on TV earlier saying the Rays have the toughest schedule for the next however many weeks to end the season. And that's a great test. If that doesn't get you excited, I don't know what will. They're right in the thick of it. And This is a position you want to be in at the end of the year. And you learn a lot about your teammates and how guys respond when times matter the most, when games matter the most. And I love it. I love watching how guys respond.
Well, the schedule for the Rays was tough coming out of the All-Star break, and you had the best record in the American League for the last month. So, I think they rise to the occasion, and I think the difficulty of the schedule is still yet to be said, right? Because teams are falling apart. You see what the Yankees were and what the Yankees are, and they're obviously a talented team, but I think that they've been humbled a little bit the last month of the season. But I do want to get your reflections on the season that Aaron Judge is having, because he's at, I believe, 55 home runs right now. I mean, his slugging is like ridiculous. It's like 680.
He's the Yankees' whole offense.
He's
it.
But
he is.
What do you make of what he's doing?
It's incredible. I told him when he was having a lot of success early in the season, I hope he hits 60. I told him that. I've been saying it, even on a division rival like ours. He's such an easy guy to root for. He's just a pro. He does things the right way. Fans love him, rightfully so. Or he's a great teammate. I've had many interactions with him, and I think the world of him. And after him and the Yankees couldn't turn down something, him betting on himself, I always root for players when they do that. And he's having the best walk year, aka the year before free agency ever. And whatever his contract is, I'm gonna let him go set the market, go let him sign, and I'm gonna try to sign maybe a week later. I mean, he's locked in as I've ever seen, and he's hitting everything. And he plays great defense too, runs the base as well. People don't realize that dude has a cannon of an arm. He's so good as advertised. And it's incredible what he's doing. But I'm not surprised at the same time though.
KK, what's the most important stat in your opinion? Is it batting average? Is it on base? Is it slugging? Is it WAR?
Games played.
That
Yeah. And
games played. I don't, and I'm not even a guy. I'll sit here. I know I don't have the best numbers and all that. I've never been a stat rat. I don't care. I can go home after 0 for 4 3Ks. I can drive home. We win. I'm happy.
Yeah.
I know I'll have an opportunity to play it next day. I've learned that years ago, and you create this mental mindset that helps you deal with things. And I don't ever try to make a big deal. There's times where you're scuffling or whatever, where things can really get the best of you at times, but that's going to happen to everyone. But Aaron Judge, anytime he touches that field, he makes his team better. I don't care what his batting average is, on base percentage. If he goes out there and beats Aaron Judge for 155 games, the Yankees have the best possible chance of winning each and every day he's out there. And the numbers will take care of themselves.
Yeah, and to pick up on what you said earlier about the Rays being the scariest team and talk about games played being the most important stat, I know at one point, maybe it's still the case, the Rays had the most days on the IL of any team in Major League Baseball. When you talk about impact day in, day out players, when you look at the big bats in the lineup, we've recently just gotten Margot, Ramirez, and Randy all on the field at the same time. Like, that's been missing.
Yep.
And so that's just kind of picking up with Wander back and then possibly adding, Tyler Glasnow late in the season. I mean, I don't think we've seen the best version yet of the 2022 Rays on the field.
No, I don't either. I've been saying all year, there's definitely been times where everyone, position player, pitchers, everyone's been clicking or firing on all cylinders. But still, I know the talent, the potential of this team, and I don't think they've reached it yet. When you get to the playoffs, everyone starts with a clean slate. You go Shane McClanahan, Drew Rasmussen, Corey Kluber, whoever, be able to have Glasnow on that playoff roster.
Yeah.
No one wants to play us. I don't care what our record is or how the season ends. We get in, and you got those guys going. Good luck. There's not another 3 that are better than them, and you need pitching to win. We got plenty of that. You need a lot of things to win, but when you get dominant pitching and hopefully these guys feeling their best, once Shane comes off the IL, I think he's going to pitch Thursday maybe. He gets back to who he was before.
Yeah.
Ras has been throwing great. Corey, teams will, you don't want to see them boys. You don't want to see them. So I like where we're at. Just finish the season strong. Whatever happens. Just get our foot in the door whatever way we can, and then we go from there. But once again, I know there's not many teams that want to play us and see that pitching. And, we got a lot of great position players as well. It just depends who gets hot at the right time. And like I said, if any team can do it, it's those boys.
That's right. Well, it's so great to catch up with you, and it's so good to hear that the rehab is going well, that you're making some progress each and every day. We are big KK fans. We're rooting you on. We hope that everything continues to progress in the way that gets you back out on the field as soon as possible.
Yeah, man. You're a great ambassador for Tampa Bay for since 2010. You're awesome.
Yeah.
So good to talk to you. And maybe next time we do the podcast in Spanish and we just do
what do you think?
I'm not there yet. Give me
we're not either.
Give me another year, and then maybe I'll be good. But I appreciate you guys having me on. This was fun.
Yeah.
I don't have anything to do right now. I'll stay occupied. So
it's an open invite.
You're a captive audience. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the only way to sum this up is to say muchos gracias. That's the only Spanish I know. But
de nada. You're welcome. De nada.
There we go. The great Kevin Kiermaier. KK, thank you so much for being on the show. Man, good to catch up with KK, and always in good spirits. It's tough, man. I mean, the road that he's kind of taken with this rehab, and I just think it's got to be so difficult to watch a team. It's tough when you're a competitor to watch.
Yeah.
I think it's tough when you say, oh, man, this team is getting so good, and if I could be a part of these wins and be a part of that late season push to the playoffs. But he's a great sport, and he's going to be back there, man. I don't know if it's going to be with the Rays, but he's going to be out there patrolling the outfield soon enough. And, KK is one of those guys that he's always going to be an asset for a team because of what he brings, especially defensively.
You're more dialed in on this than I am. I had no idea this labrum thing started in January of 21, and he went all last season with it. That's insane. Just cortisone shots and just kind of duct taping himself together and hustling as much as he could.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
He's one of the good ones, so we wish the best of luck to KK in his recovery. We had some fun guests, Chris. I think that, between Outlaw and Fitz, it sounds like maybe they could be like a cop tandem, like a 90s TV show. What do you think?
Fitz and the Outlaw. I like it. Got the beard and the baseball mitts. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We're onto something. We're setting some high standards with these guests, too.
I think so.
Is this going to keep happening?
No.
Okay.
Probably not. Brian King in the booth. Brian, did we like our guest today?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
That was a great job. Surprised by Kiermaier and just how intense that injury was. I don't think people realize just how long he had dealt with it.
Right. Yeah, no, he has dealt with several injuries over the course of his career. But, this one is so kind of intrinsic to what he is as a player and his ability to kind of fly around in the outfield that, hopefully, now with a nice smoothed out labrum, he's going to be out there and making some diving and leaping grabs once again.
Let's hope so.
Trying to max some platinum. All right, we have a fun game here, a game of Ballad Breakdown.
Okay.
So this has kind of been a fun game that I've been trying to introduce for years now. Nobody wants to play it with me. Where we bring out the lyrics of a song that we all kind of know. It's widely known, but we don't really know what the song actually means.
Unlike Lady.
And so we're going to bring it down. We're going to break it down here. So I figured because you are wearing a Red Hot Chili Peppers shirt, that it would be appropriate to discuss the Red Hot Chili Peppers and give it away. Are we ready?
I didn't see this coming.
Okay. So I'm going to read it, and you just we just want kind of a free flow of ideas, okay? The music is not making me settle in my spirit, but it's okay. I think
so you're going to read the lyrics,
right,
and we're supposed to interpret them for you.
Okay.
All right? Okay.
Oh. That's how it starts. What I got, you got to give it to your mama. What I got, you've got to give it to your papa. What I got, you got to give it to your daughter. You do a little dance, and then you drink a little water. All right? So we're 4 lines in. What are we thinking this is about?
Well, so much innuendo there.
Well, let's
I
keep
feel
it
like
above
you could,
board, Cato.
I feel like you could give a lot of things away. You know? You could be giving away your love. You could be giving away your mercy to someone, your attention, or you could be giving them medicine, which I think is what he's doing here. He's like a doctor, and that's why he says. No,
this song's about ibuprofen.
That's why he says, I'm going to give it to your mom. She's not feeling good.
Okay.
I'm going to give it a little to your papa, get him feeling better.
The whole
your
family's
daughter
sick.
Also, and then that's when you drink a little water because you got to watch it, do a little dance, and you drink a little water.
Okay.
And then you'll feel
Brian,
better.
you good on with
I think you're off a bit. Who's the guitar player in Flea?
No, he's the bassist.
Flea, yeah.
Bay. Okay, bassist. What if this song was from the perspective of the family dog? And what he's giving out is he's giving the fleas to all the family.
Okay, all right.
And then what the dog do at the end?
The writing of
some
this,
water.
The writing of this song is where he earned his name, Flea.
Exactly.
Because I don't think that was his given name, right? His name is not like Flea.
Let's hope not.
Flea Johnson.
It could be. I don't know.
Well, I think it's about money. It's got you got to give it. You give it away. You give it away because as we get into this, so he gets what I got. You got to get it, put it in you. What I got, you got to get it, put it in you. So maybe it's not money.
Well, so he's talking to a piggy bank?
Well, I think it's. Yeah.
That's it. He's talking to his bank.
Yes, this song.
What I've got, I got to get and put it in you.
Okay, you can give it to your mama or your papa, but I'm gonna put it in the piggy bank.
Take this rolled up dollar.
reeling with the feeling. Don't stop. Continue. So it's a good feeling. Whatever he's doing, he's having a great time. I realize I don't want to be a miser. Okay, so do we know what a miser is?
Someone who's selfish. With
someone
their money.
who doesn't want to give their money away, or it could be anything, and it could be an emotion. Confide with Sly. Is this Sly Stallone? Sylvester Stallone is part of this. Confide with Sly, you'll be the wiser.
Or Sly and the Family Stone, a great kind of funk band.
Okay.
You know?
I'm not familiar with their work.
Maybe he's giving away the funk.
Young Blood is the lovin' upriser. Okay, totally confused on this one. Young Blood, is that a rapper? Young Blood.
I don't think he was when this came out in 1991. No.
Is the lovin' upriser. Okay. How come everybody want to keep it like the Kaiser? And this is a capital K. So this would be a proper noun.
For some type of I'm thinking an emperor,
Right.
like a German
Someone
overlord.
that is hoarding
Someone's
wealth,
yeah,
right?
selfish, yeah. So we're back on money now. Unless he's talking about a Kaiser roll, which is delicious. Don't discredit it. On
Yes.
a turkey sandwich. So, and he's like, maybe he's
so
talking.
he's like working at a deli.
He's in a deli.
So he's like the guy at Subway that gives you the extra helping of meat. You didn't ask for it.
Yeah, and he's
Like,
giving it away.
Don't
Yeah.
be a miser.
Yeah.
Give me double meat, double
Yeah.
cheese.
And-
Okay.
and-
Oh, my
you-
Kaiser.
Okay.
And you don't
Yeah,
have to
put it on.
always
Kaiser.
stick with the Kaiser roll. You can branch out here.
Brian, are we on the right page here?
Yeah. Are we about to turn the page?
Okay.
Oh,
all right.
Bob
I think
Seger.
Very good artist.
I think, yeah. All right. Well, we learned a lot, and we could say that the Red Hot Chili Peppers are giving a lot away. They will not be giving away tickets. However, for you to attend the show freely, you're actually going to have to pay for that.
I've already paid. I've already paid for this T-shirt too. I'm the guy who buys the shirt before he goes to the concert.
There you
That
go.
guy.
All right.
Nice.
BK, I appreciate it. Good show. Nice little breakdown on the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Give it away. Give it away now. And this episode is being given away. It's free. You just need to find it. And the best place to do that is actually by looking at the QR code on the screen if you're watching. And we have it on Google Play, iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify. You can go to watch full-length episodes at fox13news.com/nodpod. Please subscribe. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to do this every week. What do you think? Can you commit to that?
Well, it is called No Off Days, so I guess it's no off weeks either. So, yeah, sign me up.
Very good. Episode number 2 is in the books. Guys, until the next time we're on, there are no off days.
Nod.
For Chris, BK, Scott, we'll see you next time.